members of the committee, for the chance for the Congressional Budget Office to appear today. Social Security is a very important program. It's a very important part of economic policy making in the United States. The program influences how much people work, how hard they work, when they choose to retire. It influences their decisions to save, how they allocate those savings into different kinds of possible investments. And as a result, it affects their retirement incomes. And for the population as a whole, it affects the distribution of income, both for people at any point in time, elderly versus non-elderly, and across generations. Because it has those kinds of influences, it can also influence how the U.S. economy grows, its overall accumulation of wealth and standards of living in the future. It is also an important budgetary issue. It is the single largest program in the federal budget at the moment. Outlays are about $500 billion. And for those reasons, I thought I would spend my time looking beyond the range of the program itself that I think Steve has laid out so nicely, and talk about some of the issues and challenges from the perspective of the larger federal budget and the economy as a whole. And a starting point for doing that is to look at the future of the current Social Security program under current law. And that's in the charts in front of you and on the easel to my right. And what you see is that at the moment, revenues dedicated to the Social Security program, payroll taxes and taxes on benefits, exceed outlays on Social Security benefits paid to new retirees and current retirees. That surplus, the blue line above the red line, is right now about $80 billion. It'll peak in 2010 roughly at $100 billion, and then will begin to diminish thereafter until roughly 2020, at which point the program will hit balance. Money's coming in will exactly match money's going out. At that point, Social Security will cease to provide a cushion to the remainder of the federal budget and will at that point require funds from the remainder of the federal budget. That condition will persist under current law until the trust funds exhaust, in our estimates, 2052, at which point, in the process that Steve described, the outlays and benefits paid will be brought down to payroll taxes coming in, and the two lines will match for the foreseeable future. And so clearly, some form of the current program can sustain into the future. Importantly, that form does not coincide with the chart on my left and also in those in front of you, which is scheduled benefits as presented under current law, the top line, and scheduled financing under current law, the blue line at the bottom, where the scheduled benefits rise above scheduled financing for as far as the eye can see, representing a gap out at the end about 2% of GDP. If left in that form and unchanged, that would require in current dollars something on the order of $240, $250 billion per year from the remainder of the federal budget to keep the program in that condition. So I think that looking at it from this budgetary perspective informs a couple of the issues that present you today. One, when is this an issue? That's in the eye of the beholder, but certainly as one moves from the left to the right under current law or the program as scheduled, you'll see diminishing cushion from Social Security to the remainder of the federal budget. You'll see ultimately that cushion disappear and rising demands from the remainder of the federal budget. That swing from roughly $100 billion in 2010 to needing $100 billion 15 years later will manifest itself as budgetary pressures on the remainder of the decisions that you make. And it will take place in the context of rising expenditures under current law for the health programs, Medicare and Medicaid, which will not make it easy, to say the least, to find those funds in the remainder of the budget. But the inexorable arithmetic is it will be necessary to cut spending on other programs, raise taxes, or to borrow more. Stepping back from that and looking at the issues from an economic policy perspective, I think it'd be useful as a matter of first-order principles to resolve uncertainty about the future of the program. Beneficiaries will be able to make plans. Workers will be able to decide what they can count on in the way of Social Security. Employers will have certainty about their responsibilities in the program. Policymakers will have a clear idea about the net budgetary implications that will come from this source and be able to resolve them versus the other demands. It's also true that there are probably three other things that stand out. The threshold question is this the right Social Security system for the 21st century? In the face of changing demographics, is it possible to reconfigure the program to be sustainable over the long term? And there are many issues on the table regarding how that might be done, but I think it's important to recognize that from a really big picture perspective, the threshold question that keeps arising is it useful to have a system with more pre-funding? Those who favor pre-funding tend to focus on the reliance on individuals in doing that funding, on the impacts that might have on incentives for labor supply and for personal saving, on the potential for higher rates of return that come with a pre-funded system versus a pay-as-you-go system. Those who favor reconfiguring a pay-as-you-go Social Security system point to the universality of the system. They note that it allows for the potential to redistribute income and to provide social insurance against the possibility that your labor market outcomes are not what you had anticipated, that you are struck by disability or simply live in bad economic times. And it gives you a standard of living independent of those events. In either event, the CBO is happy to be here today to provide information to you from the perspective not only of the program itself, but from the larger budgetary perspective and economic policy, and to assist you as you deliberate the future of this important program. Thank you.